This is Pastor's Corner. I am Pastor Kelly Milne of the Bridgewater New Jerusalem Church in Bridgewater, and I am here with my partner in crime, cohort, colleague, the Reverend Dr. Donna Keene from the Elmwood New Church right here in Elmwood. And we are I'm not sure what we are.
I think
Behind the scenes of Pastor's Corner.
we're co-hosts.
We're co-hosts. And we've been, wow, this could be show 15 or 16. We're somewhere in there. I can't believe it's been that many.
Yeah.
We have covered so many topics from, goodness.
Anxiety, depression, loneliness, Jesus, the Bible.
Those little things.
The little ones, yeah.
Yeah. So we'd like to take a topic and give it a little pastoral twist and hopefully inspire, educate, prompt you.
And have some fun.
Yes, we do that very well. So this is October, can't believe it, already. And we threw around quite a few ideas for today, but we have settled on, and this goes along with the chicken and the egg, even though I have an answer for that, but the two concepts of hope and fear, or fear and hope. And that's where we're headed today. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to talk about this because, well, our world is a little bit of a mess right now, and we just wanted to maybe give some encouragement and a little theological understanding of, what's going on. I know you had some thoughts as to what to talk about. I recently did a sermon on hope and fear. So I think we're good on the subject. So, well, where should we start?
I think we should start with Micah.
Micah, one of the prophets in the Old Testament.
8th century, yep.
Yep. Fun fact, I may or may not have said this before, but in relation to the prophets, you hear that there are major prophets and there are minor prophets. It has nothing to do with their status. It has to do with the length of the book in the Bible. That's it. Micah happens to be one of the minor prophets.
Yeah.
It's got a nice, cute little section there. And I know that in Micah is one of your
Favorite passages.
And I know you wrote it out.
Yeah, I did. I also went on the internet and got a little vignette that Micah was actually messaging, condemning social injustice, greed, and corrupt leaders and priests. And he is best known for what we call his call to action, which goes like this. What does the Lord require of you? To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Now, if everybody in our world right now believed that they needed to do justice and be merciful and had enough humility to walk humbly with God, we'd have a better place.
And you said that Micah was around the year 800?
8th century.
8th century.
Yep.
Okay. So what that is telling me is that this kind of mess has been going on for quite some time.
Since the first murder with Cain and Abel. I mean, it's never been perfect.
Correct.
Because we're human.
Right.
And we have our better sides, and sometimes we have our worse sides. And the culture we live in has a lot to do with how we perceive ourselves and others. And I'm more and more concerned about the lack of trust that we have now because of all of the social media stuff that's just bombarding people, whether it's on television, your internet, your telephone, your iPad, your iPod, whatever. We are surrounded by information. We have algorithms that are pointing people in different directions or darker places. And I think people are losing faith in what they hear and not trusting what they believe in. And that's what I'm concerned about, is not trusting what we believe in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a time, I know at least when I was younger, when the news was the news.
Right.
Here are the facts.
Right.
And it wasn't everyone's opinion involved in that news. I'm just going to give you the facts. This is it. And we need to go back to that.
Yeah, well, if Walter Cronkite were alive today, I think we would have had
This is true.
a much better time. But we also, I remember people saying, we ran this story yesterday or the day before. We now have a correction. I don't hear that anymore.
No.
And it's a little bit like, I don't know whether you know what the word gaslighting means or what it comes from, but there was an old movie where a man was telling his wife that what she had seen and heard was not true. She never saw it and she didn't hear it, and he was driving her crazy. And I think that's a good word for what's happening with all of this media stuff.
Right. And I have said for quite a long time that the media just needs to stop. There needs to be less fear. There needs to not be this sensationalization of, that was a really big word.
Yeah.
Of all the negative of, somebody did something wrong. Oh, wow, he got 15 minutes on TV. I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It needs to stop.
Yeah.
It just needs to stop, because as humans, we tend to follow others who we think may be a leader, may not be a
or may
very
know
good.
more than we do about a certain topic. And my ignorance then means I don't have to go find out by myself or for myself. I can just listen to this person and let them lead me.
Right.
And I mean, that creates Jonestown, where they drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not good.
Right. Right.
Not
And
good.
and there does, even when that occurred, or all of these other tragedies, people just lose their hope.
Yep.
And that's when all that fear starts to come in.
Right. Right.
For sure.
Yeah. And fear is, by the way, a normal human emotion. And sometimes it's a good thing to be afraid. One of my primary examples is if you're watching a car barrel down a road toward you, you better be afraid, and it should motivate your behavior and get you out of the way of that car. That's what fear is supposed to be for us. In fact, there's a lot of stuff about the reptilian brain that is right back here at the base of our skull, and that is where our fight or flight response lives. And we all have one,
We do.
and it can get activated.
For sure. And also with that, we always hear about fight or flight, but there's also a freeze
Yes.
in that. Because there are people who don't know what to do with a situation. They don't
Yeah.
have that ability to run away
Right.
or fight, and they just literally freeze.
Right.
You know, so we need to be aware of
Yes.
ourselves and how we react to fearful situations. But
Right.
fear can be a healthy thing.
It can keep us alive. Yep, it does indeed. But it can become excessive.
Sure.
And then we don't know what to do, and we don't feel as though we have any agency or anything to do about the situation. So we lose trust and faith.
Yeah.
And I did a little research.
Look at you on the
Yes,
computer.
I know. It's on the concept of culture in the New Testament. And the idea of culture in the New Testament is one of behavior, conduct, and a way of life. We can see how this relates to Micah's prescription of what God wants us to do in our lives. And the New Testament explores the emotional differences between various groups of people as differences of belief and values. Culture is a component of religion, and thus every culture must be evaluated based on what religion it embodies. And you know, the last couple of days on the news, that Mormon church, now on the most holy day for
For
Jews,
Jews
there's a killing
in the UK.
in the UK, and we're getting numb to it. We can feel upset. We can say things to each other, but what do we do? What kind of action do we take? And one of my most respected women just died, Jane Goodall. And her message was always, do something.
Do
You know.
something. Yeah.
You can do something. Wherever you are, in whatever situation you find yourself, you can do something. And that is where the faith comes in.
Right. Right. And from that faith perspective, make it a doing something good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we all just did one good thing a day.
One of my favorite examples is when I go into a store of any kind, whatever kind of a store it is, or post office or a gas station. When somebody says, "Can I help you?" I smile at them. And they kind of do a double take. Because I'm sure they're used to working with cranky customers.
Sure.
Something's gone wrong. I have to fix it. But it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. So I try my best. And in every situation, I always see a response. And it's good.
And we're going to be right back so that we can continue this conversation in just a moment.
Will it be, boys?
I need to get rid of some hair.
You're gonna look so good.
Oh, man.
Got a date?
I hope so.
What do you think?
Shorter, please.
More like it?
Shorter.
That would be a shave.
Go for it. Can't believe he's doing it. Our work here is done, gentlemen.
I will dry your eyes. I will fight your fight. I will
Being there. Pass it on.
Please?
Yes.
Welcome back. See, that wasn't too long.
No.
And do you remember what you were talking about?
No, I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, me neither.
So let's talk.
These things happen. Those little behind the scenes. What happens on break? So we're talking about fear, hope, our world. We talked about in the first segment, if you weren't able to join us, I think just the trust that we're losing
Yeah.
in a lot of things, not just in the media, but I think a lot of things in general. And we should really now probably talk about some hope.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, how do we feel inside? And how do we maintain our faith that it's going to be okay? And one of my favorite passages, I have two from the New Testament, is where Jesus has just finished doing this miracle, and they're in a boat going across the sea, and a storm comes up. And the disciples are, the winds and the wave, and we're gonna die. And they go and try to wake him up. And they say, Master, do you care if we drown? And he stands up, and he calms the sea, and he calms the waves. And then he looks at them and says, in essence, "O ye of little faith."
That's right.
The second example I always point to is he's walking through the streets of Jerusalem with his disciples and a huge crowd, and this woman is there. She's been bleeding for 12 years.
Yep.
And she reaches out to touch the hem of his garment. And he stops cold and says, "The power has gone out of me. Who touched me?" His disciples are saying, "We're in a crowd. Everybody's touching you." He says, No. There is one person who touched me. I want to know that person. And finally, she gives in and she admits that it was her. And he says, "Your faith has healed you." Not his power. So I translate that into my life and onto the life of this congregation and this town and this state and this country. How close do we have to get to the power before we reach out and get some? How close do we have to get to believe that it's okay? Because that, to me, is what our faith is all about.
Absolutely.
And in the midst of chaos and confusion, there's faith.
And I think sometimes we have to remember, as I said previously, this type of chaos, this confusion, disorder, this happens.
Yep.
And then it comes back to being in order. And that's not by mistake.
No. I happen to have this little quote handy.
Gee, I wonder if it's the same as mine.
Do you want to say it
No, you
first?
go right ahead.
This is a little quote I totally carry around with me,
Okay.
especially now. Before being reduced to order, it is very common for everything to fall into confusion or seeming chaos. This allows things that cling together poorly to separate. And then the Lord arranges them in their rightful place. And everything is reduced to order, not chaos and confusion.
Right.
And I hang on to that at this time. I say it probably every day.
Right.
Because We need it.
We do. And as you know, I have a sticky note. Used to be on my sewing machine, but now it's just in my sewing space. Very simply, chaos before order. Just whittling that
Yeah.
statement down. And I will say that to myself a lot of times. You know, whether I generally don't watch the news, but to be a responsible human being and pastor, and I need to know what's going on in the world. And so I get, you know, notifications and whatnot. So, you know, looking at that notification about the shooting at the synagogue in the UK, it stops me.
Yep.
And I just lift it up. I have to.
Yeah.
You know, and as we were mentioning, you know, these mass shootings in churches, leave that alone. Leave that alone. And we do need to do something. We do need, we are called to do something.
Yeah.
We are called to action and to fight injustice.
Yes.
And that alone could give us hope.
Yes.
And I mean, as we all know, there is plenty of hope in the pages of the Bible or whatever you read for your faith.
Yep.
And there is lots out there that is positive. One thing that I do in my church service, which you encountered last week, is I ask for good news. This happened 2 years ago. I think I'm on year 3 of asking
Okay.
for good news. But there are fantastic websites. Just type in your search engine. Good news.
Yep.
Lots of them. People doing good things.
Right.
There is good in this world.
Yes.
There is hope.
Well, I know that I am carrying around with me something that just, when I first saw it, I could not believe the strength of it in this time frame. About the student, after the professor had asked if God created evil, had managed to bring the professor to his knees by the way he rationally explained. We cannot test or create or determine anything about darkness because it doesn't exist. It's only absence of light. There is no such thing as cold. There's only the absence of heat. There is no evil in the world. It's only the absence of God. Now, when I read that, I thought to myself, that is probably the best way I have ever heard anybody describe the fact that God did not create evil. He can't. He is the marriage of love and wisdom.
Correct.
Evil is the absence of God in our hearts, in our lives, and what we do.
Right.
And it's just a word we use to describe the actions of people who have become estranged from the love of God.
Right. And it doesn't have to be our God.
No.
It doesn't have to be the God of Christianity. It could be the God of Buddhism, the God
Yes.
of Islam, the God of, it's who we get our strength and our faith from. That's the power.
Well, as you know, there are 3 religions that all worship the same God:
Absolutely.
Christianity, Judaism, and Muslim.
Yeah.
Same God, different ways
Angles.
to get to it.
Sure.
But there's also the Buddhist, which their definition of heaven or freedom or whatever is being totally, what they use the word equanimity. In other words, serenity in the face of chaos and confusion. And going inside to find that serenity so that they can function in a serene way in the midst of all of that chaos and confusion. And I just think it's a different way of describing the love of God and how we can try to find that
Right.
in ourselves. At this time, it's very difficult to pull inward, to look for that in the midst of this chaos and confusion.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I've been looking for ways for that calm. I know it's there. I have experienced it. In fact, just the other day, I did a quick little meditation, and something happened when my eyes opened, and I went to that peaceful place. And then something shifted in me, and this is good. You know, it's just that, it's almost that glimmer of hope.
Right.
That glimmer of, I can feel peace in this chaos,
Yes.
and I know the reason for it.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, we are all living in this.
And we have choices on how we live in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. My quote, and I'm guessing they're from about the same place. It was just a little bit further on. And maybe this is what we can leave everyone with today. The Lord works from what is peaceful within to control what is messy and uncontrolled on the outside. So we could go pretty deep with this.
Yeah, we could. I'm just telling people all the time. The people who are trying to control the externals of their life, you know, you have to do
Outside
this,
stuff, yeah.
all the outside stuff. Really, it's because the inside is so chaotic.
Yeah.
And so we try to turn that around. You can calm the chaos inside, then you won't be so concerned about a dirty dish on the counter.
Exactly. So we will end today with that thought and to encourage everyone to look inside of themselves and to see that although there seems to be chaos and fear, that there will be order at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my favorite quote, John Lennon, if it isn't okay, it isn't the end. Because in the end, it will be okay.
That's right. So blessings to everyone, and we will see you next time.